Boys and girls, played paddle last week.
Whoa!
Did you?
Yeah. I had to. Everyone's talking about it. They're going on like paddle holidays. They're having paddle days, paddle this, paddle that.
Yeah.
I thought, do you know, I'm gonna have to try it.
Were you any good?
I was the best table tennis player in the Welsh squad.
Were you?
The Wall, they used to call me.
Right.
So I've obviously got good hand-eye, but really enjoyable. The only thing is, if you've got bad knees like me, it does take a hammering on your knee because you're constantly turning.
And that's the reason why I don't think I can play it. I mean, I will give it a go, definitely.
Right.
But any lateral movement from side to side, or
could be a problem.
But it's as hard as you want to make it or not, and like it's just a nice way of doing, I don't know, 500 calories in an hour. Bit of fun.
On that basis, I think we should have a game of paddle then at some point.
Front
V back.
Yes.
Okay, so we will book a paddle course.
Right, I'm ready.
Okay,
Yeah.
And we'll have a little game, front V back.
Right, I want to ask everyone, KDM, you're first, about your introduction to rugby. Where did it all start, please, KDM?
Oh, mine was watching my dad play Senators rugby on the start of a pitch in Wellies at 5, where I was like the mascot, and that literally I grew up on the side of a rugby pitch. My granddad used to take me down. It's where I spent my Saturdays. And that was it. I was hooked ever since.
How old were you?
5.
Always a fly half?
A fly half, scrum half, I was always in the middle, at the thick of it.
Too much skill.
To be honest, I just wanted the ball at that point. That was the best way of getting it, right? If you didn't have to pass to anybody else.
Were you bossy?
Yeah, total bossy girl.
That's good though. That is handy, isn't it? In those positions, it's not.
Probably why you two get on.
It is, and I was probably bigger than
I'm
most
so
of the boys.
acquiescent, and she's so bossy. That's it.
Yeah.
I remember my father took me to a game at Twickenham, a Wales-England game at Twickenham, and it must have been like mid-80s, so I'd only been maybe 5 or 6. But there was 2 tickets, and there was 3 of us. So it was my dad and his friend and me. And back in the day, when you actually had a proper paper ticket, he went through with his ticket. I had to go to the side by like one of the fences, and he passed the ticket back through to me, and I got in. And I remember watching the game, like sat down by his feet.
It's the game struggling for money, and you're doing that. It's wonder why there's problems in Welsh rugby. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was introduced to rugby when I was living in Barnes. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I went out the back, and my next door neighbour was playing rugby, and he took me down to Staines Rugby Club, and I was only 8. I ended up playing my first game against the under-12s, which was quite terrifying, really, because they needed someone extra, and that was it, really. Staines Rugby Club.
Always an 8 lol or a back rower?
No, I wasn't actually. I was a winger, and in those days when you played on the wing, at school rugby anyway, everyone dropped the ball before it got to you. So you very rarely touched the ball, to be honest with you. And it was cold. And then I sort of moved down the back line. And it wasn't till I got to 16 that I got moved to number 8.
Wow.
Were you always rugby as well?
I was always rugby, yeah, but I was a big thick boy. I couldn't do anything else. I looked like this when I was 9. Basically, I was genetically identical to my dad, and so 8 years old. I've got a lovely story. My dad took me down the local club in Maidstone when I was 8, and big thick boy, good strong boy, and brave boy, and that was it.
But I would say always front row. Were you naturally attracted to?
Well, when I first started under 8s, in the scrum was just 3 people, so it was 2 props and a lock, and that meant that I could go between the 2. I could go between the 2 props, and I could push through the middle. So I was lock for a year, but I was always a prop. We got Cadan Murley on the show this time around, this episode. I take it we're all fans. Cadan, you're a fan of his?
I am. He's also a very good-looking boy.
Yeah.
He's got the facial hair. He's got that wonderful tash.
If you guys could have any type of facial hair, what are you going for? Mustache, beard?
Well, some on my head would be nice, to be fair.
I was thinking that.
I mean, that goes for all of us, really.
We were getting knocked when we were losing but scoring, so now we're winning, not scoring as many points. We're still getting knocked. How do you win?
Marcus Smith will get a load more caps for England at fly half.
He's such a student of the game. He wants to learn and be the best wherever he's playing.
The pressure's on Scotland because this might be the best group of players they'll have.
Sum up your England debut in one word.
A dream.
Were the coaches able to laugh about the bits you were laughing about?
I don't think they would have laughed straight after the game.
Whips or chains?
That's not on there.
Being in there, everyone wants to grow. how can we all get it to click and play? Because if we can, we'll be one of the best teams in the world.
We think I had some stitches that got put in when I was still playing that never came out properly. So they're little lumps. They cut them out, and the lump's gone, and now it's all fixed. I've got a lump exactly the same size as the lump that was taken out. Like, do that with your finger so you can push it like a little.
The good news is no one can see it.
Yeah, we got Delicacy. These are all well and good, but my mate Sarah from Bath, she has a cake company. These are heart cakes. They're little cakes.
So good.
Hey, are you allowed?
I'm allowed.
To have a look?
You have to try.
They are.
I mean, there doesn't. Yeah.
I have to try.
Whenever I've watched you, I've always
I know
thought
you're
you're
allowed.
a really good player, but carrying a bit of timber. So this is
I do prefer the savoury
Why?
snacks, if I'm honest.
Do you?
Yeah.
good, eh?
Sarah, well done.
Good, eh?
They are.
Are they good?
So delicious.
Okay, I'll have to go in there.
So delicious, and it's handy because whenever like my wife, my kids, whatever birthdays, I'll say, "Can you make a cake?" And I'll say, we're mates. You've got to let me pay. This is your business." Knowing full well she will never let me pay.
Yeah.
Just free cakes for life, mate. How good is that?
It's unreal, that.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I mean, you're grossly overweight, so maybe don't eat all the time.
Well, Lyle's sausage rolls were amazing last week.
Yeah, you liked them, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You had about 7 attempts.
I was about to say, how many did you have?
Yeah.
I reckon
There's been a lot of calls for the recipe,
least
actually,
five.
though. Yeah, a
Well,
lot of calls.
we will post the recipe online so that people couldn't have it. But
What is it?
I did have a bit of a cheat. I do have, the ready-made puff pastry rather than.
Oh yeah, no.
You didn't make your own pastry? No one. Lol.
No, but the secret is a little bit of chutney from, which is garlic and chili chutney, and obviously the egg wash on the sausage rolls
They were really good though.
Someone is farting around here.
and the chili flakes after. Well, is it a gentle east?
The one who smelt it dealt it.
Yeah.
Is it southeasterly? 'Cause
Whoever
it's-
denied it supplied it.
Whoever said the song did the
I can
pong.
hear something.
That is you. Do you know Shanks can fart on call? He can fart like Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun. He can fart whenever he wants.
Mate, you
I
got
thought there was creaky floorboards, but actually,
you got to sing and fart on call.
Right,
There is something in here.
right. Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in. I don't believe you.
I've just seen a little trotter on the table going like this.
pull your finger out. Pull your finger out.
A little hand, a little child's hand like this.
Right, Shanks. Put your thumb in your mouth. Put your thumb in your mouth. And put your thumb in your mouth and blow like you're going to blow yourself up. Go on, like you're going to blow. Go on. You're a good boy. Go on. We've got to start the pod now.
All right, okay.
I tell you what,
How good?
I promise you, it does get better.
Is this all we're doing for?
Your children, unbelievable.
Imagine doing that around a shopping centre. Where was it?
I remember going Blue Water or something. we went, didn't we?
yeah.
Was it you, me, and Julian White?
Yeah, he had his England coat on because he'd just been capped. I swear.
And I remember being in this. It was the fragrance section of like a perfume shop at Blue Water Shopping Centre in Thurrock. Like we're not interested in fragrances, but that's where the most people were.
Yeah.
So you go in there. I remember hitting the button, and Julian just he honestly, you know, well, it's like he'd been shot, mate. He was laughing. He hit. You know, something like you laugh so much you might take a knee.
Yeah.
Julian collapsed. we killed him. He hit the ground. It's just a fart machine.
Where's the noise coming from?
Well,
Mate.
Funnily enough,
Well,
it's
Funny how
gone
you
now.
stopped it.
So yes,
Stopped it.
the sausage roll recipe will be posted online.
Went down a treat. Nice one, Lol. And these are very nice. Well done. Right, Caden, welcome.
Thank you.
This is high-end journalism here, mate. We're
Yeah.
not mucking around anymore.
Yeah,
It's time to
lovely.
get serious, yeah?
You warmed you up now.
And we finally got a superstar.
Finally got one. It's big boy stuff now, yeah? How you doing? How's the recovery?
Yeah, it's going all right, thank you.
Boring?
Yeah, boring. Waiting for this
People
boat
want to
to
get
heal.
asked this question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But tell us, just 99% of people watching will know, but tell us what you did and how you did it and what you've got to do to get fit again.
So it's a stress fracture in my foot,
Yeah.
and it's one of those where it just happens, whether it's load, whether it's the position of your studs. I found out I'm having to move the position of my studs on my boot.
Custom boots, is it?
Yeah, custom boots now. Yeah,
these days, eh?
very fancy. But yeah, it just develops over time, and then the one specific moment, it was actually in the England debut. I think it was about half an hour in, just stepped off my left foot and just felt this little crack almost. And then got it scanned afterwards, and there's a little fracture in there, a little stress fracture in there. So now it's just waiting for the bone to heal. You can't really do much rehab. It's hopefully around 6 weeks.
I mean, like your position, there are certain positions like prop where there are some injuries, like a shoulder you can't hide, but a hammy here or a foot, you can sometimes get away with it because you're not moving as ballistic, you're not changing direction at high speed really. Like depending on but your position, you
Probably
can't muck about
can't
with
get
your
away
feet.
with
The old
it. No,
hooves.
exactly. Yeah, you need them.
You've got a special boot, have you, for your leg, your foot to help it heal? Is that right?
No, there's a bone healing machine.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, so this thing you strap on called an exogen, and you strap on.
X-Men.
Bone healing
You
machine.
It doesn't
I love
feel
that.
like it's doing anything, but you put it on for 20 minutes a day, and apparently it sends little ultrasound rays or whatever it is. I don't even know.
You need that on your head.
Says he. Regen.
You've got
called a regen.
You've got some questions.
Got
just
some
to-
questions,
quick
right.
fire
Okay,
questions.
Right, it's
There we
quickfire.
go.
It's not
Okay.
quickfire,
Excuse
but
me, they're my questions.
yeah. But,
Stand down.
Yeah. All right.
They're quickfire.
Good
The
luck.
boys have yet
I'll
to
try.
find what
I'll be as
quickfire
quick as
means.
I can.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there can be a
Don't worry
first for
about the quick
everything. Right, first club where you played or experienced rugby.
Paderborn Pirates.
Good one.
Yeah, it was in Germany.
Yeah,
It was
it's
in
German
Germany.
club.
Yeah, my parents actually founded it because there was no rugby club in Germany where I lived.
Oh, no wonder you got picked.
Yeah.
For yours, that is nice.
First name on the team sheet. Lovely.
Right, I wouldn't be the rugby player I am today without.
My dad.
Nice. The player you loved watching growing up.
Rupeni Thauthau.
Oh, mate.
Good one. Right, best day in
Great
rugby.
England debut.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Sum up your England debut in one word.
A dream.
Best friend in rugby.
So that's my good mate Marcus Smith.
I knew you'd pick a famous one. So you
Got it, don't you?
just be humble. Yeah. Oh, Gary from Junior Rugby. No, not Gary, mate. Forgotten him. Outgrown that loser.
Words that you try and live by.
Embrace, don't endure.
Good one.
Conceal, don't feel.
It's not from Disney.
Yeah, frozen.
Pre-match superstitions.
I just won't wash my boots if we won.
Okay.
If we lose, I wash them.
Toughest player you faced.
Toughest.
Yep.
Peter O'Mahony.
Oh, good one.
Great show.
The moment I wish I could have back.
Probably winning the Prem final. I'd love to just go through that again.
Yeah.
Your biggest passion outside of rugby.
It'll be something like cooking.
Oh,
think.
nice.
What would you cook for us then?
I do a spinach and lemon risotto with a little bit of prosciutto on top, which is really nice.
That sounds like a starter, but yeah.
Your favourite football team.
Manchester United.
Favourite football player.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, good one. Okay. Favourite TV programme.
Yellowstone.
Oh,
You won,
a lot of
yeah.
fans here for Yellowstone.
On that, how many series? You've done them all?
Done them all.
I felt like, Shanks and I have had this conversation, Yellowstone gripped me, I loved it, but like it felt like it all got a bit silly. And
Yeah, I
was
know
like,
what you mean. I think it was season 4, yeah.
It went
and
from
then into the
believable
5th.
to no one's ever behaved like that.
Yeah.
I bought a denim jacket with like a black furry collar because I wanted to look like Rip.
One of my favourite
He's the
characters
best.
ever.
He's the
Yeah,
best.
the
He's
man,
the-
isn't he?
he's the
Yeah,
daddy.
man.
He's one of the great telly characters.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't look like him.
Yeah, it made you want to go over there and
Yeah.
start your own ranch.
Ride a
didn't it?
horse.
You look
Yeah.
like the other one, like the young guy that they. What's his other? Was it
Casey.
Billy? Casey.
Casey.
The young. Well, no, the young
Billy.
guy. Billy.
Oh, Billy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, did I say that tash should go down quite
Yeah,
well
I know,
on
I reckon it would.
Yellowstone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sort of on the ranch or Brokeback Mountain. Either way, it's a good tash. Great movie. Great movie.
Most starstruck you've ever been.
United game. I actually managed to wiggle my way into the director's box somehow. United against Fulham. We won 3-1 that game.
Rare.
Usain Bolt walks up the steps as I'm sat on my row, and that was like full, like, oh, and he just comes over and gives me and my mate George Head, who was there, with a little fist bump, and we're like,
Did you get a little selfie? Did you get a little pic?
no, because it's not really the environment. He had all his mates around him as well.
You really wanted to
He's just
I know,
got, he's just
yeah,
got
you
loads
really
in the back
want
of his head. haven't you?
Literally. Who's that in the corner zoomed in? Yeah.
Really small calves.
That's
good.
Usain Bolt was definitely
That is
That is a good
most
one,
starstruck.
yeah. And then final one, your funniest teammate.
Dylan Lewis, Welshie. Funny
Great
man.
Why
really.
why so funny?
I don't know, I think if you've got an accent, it makes you instantly 10 times funnier, firstly. Quick-witted, sharp. Yeah, funny teammate to be around.
Stick to Rugby is brought to you by Defender.
Caden, you've publicly described your England debut against Ireland as a mixture of highs and lows. How are you feeling about it now?
Oh, mate, it was an incredibly special day. So proud, honoured to pull on the rose. Yeah, obviously in the game, that you look back on it, hindsight's brilliant, isn't it? And in the moments you want to change things, but ultimately I made my debut for my country. Like people have always said, like I scored, I got in a try assist as well, so can't really complain too much. There were just a couple of moments that I would have liked to change, but I look back on it with extremely fond memories.
You'll always have that asterisk now, won't you, next to your name?
Yeah,
when the
exactly.
team sheets come out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, international.
I always felt like for you as well, your form in the Premiership had been outstanding for a long time, and you probably could have, or maybe should have, for a lot of people, had that opportunity a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So you had to wait a long time to finally.
Yeah, I was stuck
get
in
there.
there.
So
I got told it was my 9th camp by the time I made my debut.
Oh, right.
So I've been in 9 squads before I made my first
There will be
one,
lads
so-
who've done more, but not
Yeah,
many. That's quite a
100%,
lot.
not many, yeah,
And
I
they have
think
more
it's quite a
camps
few.
these days.
I remember speaking to you after, I think it was Harlequins Stormers, and you had a really good game at the Stoop, and you were saying that the feedback you had was you had to be a little bit better in the air, and you'd worked on that a lot.
Yeah.
You were brilliant.
Well, that's so much for the game now, isn't it?
Yeah.
This allow access rule is just chaos in the air. So it's not just receiving them, but it's going up as a winger. Like you look at Tommy Freeman these last few weeks, he's unbelievable in the air. And if you can add that to your game, I'm not quite as tall as him, but yeah, everyone needs to be as good as it.
Yeah, if you could just get 4 inches taller, that'd be great. But we're going to talk about the try and the assist and the great bits, but there's a couple of moments you mentioned that you'd like to go back and change.
Yeah.
Are we far enough away from that yet that we can have a laugh about that?
You have to. The only way to get over it.
Because we all watch you and comment out on you every week. We know how good you are, and we know, like Touchwood, I know you won't want to admit this, we know you're going to get more England caps, and we know you're going to be back when you're fit, and all that stuff. So I feel like we've got permission to laugh at your sort of brain farts during that game.
I was laughing after the game. You've got to laugh, otherwise you'll cry, mate. Yeah.
So take us through the moments you would go back and change if you could, because we've all
First
got
one, I just catch that first high ball that I knocked back and then tried to run out. And the second one, I thought I was at Quinn's trying to jouet it around, trying to look to run out of my own dead ball line the second time. I just put the ball down.
Yeah.
There we go. As simple as that.
Yeah, it's like when the crowd are shouting, "Put it down." You just would
put it down. Yeah, rather.
But you're able to laugh about it.
I could go 100
You're
meters
able
in.
to laugh about it.
Yeah, 100%. You got it.
Ah, it's great. Good man. So scoring a try, I presume, especially when scoring is. I know there's a lot of other stuff to do as a winger these days, but when scoring is your primary objective going into every game, if you could just, not looking back, but if you could try and take us to the moment where you score, the feeling of actually. It's almost like the long jump, the Olympic final. You sort of score it, you look back, and there's no one questioning it. You know it's yours. It's awarded. You've got the white flag or whatever it is. And tell us about that feeling in that moment. Your heart rate must go through the roof.
Like through the roof. I remember Slady put the kick through, and I'm running. I'm like, I'm going to get it, and then I fumble it in the air. Luckily, get it down. You turn around, and boys are right around me, like ecstatic. It's like you said, it's a winger's job to score tries. It was my second touch, so. Yeah, pretty special start to international rugby. Yeah, I remember talking to Ian Bolshaw, who played for England with Lowell when they won the World Cup, and I played with him since we were kids and stuff. And he moved over to France, and I asked what the biggest differences were, and he said the biggest difference is that players make errors during games, and unless they're in completely the wrong place where they're not meant to be, we don't bother reviewing stuff like the odd brain freeze, the odd drop ball, the odd kick that's gone out in the full. We skip it because the lads already know. Yeah.
So that makes me wonder how much depth do you go into every single moment during that game?
No, you don't. Like individual, like you said, skill errors, like mistakes happen, that kind of thing. But it's more on your positioning, your knowledge, your detail, and then work rate things will be stuff that are showed more. They're the things that will be more harshly criticised because ultimately they're things you can control. A little skill error here and there, everyone has them, so you can't go into too much
So
detail.
from your point of view then, did you have the opportunity to have that direct feedback from the coaches on because it's they know it's your first cap.
Yeah.
They know how special it is, and you deserve a lot of credit for that. So
Yeah,
they
we
also give you stuff to go away with as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly that. I was still in camp for a few days afterwards because we were still getting scans and checkups from specialists, etc. So managed to have some feedback from the coaches, and the whole overriding feedback was I went well on my debut. There were obviously those couple of mistakes, but yeah, ultimately, like positionally, knowledge-wise, work rate-wise, they were happy with how I went. So yeah, I was pretty pleased when I had those reviews after that.
Were the coaches able to laugh about the bits you were laughing about?
I don't think they would have laughed straight after the game.
Put it down
I can see that one.
Put it down?
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier when you win. It's easier when you win to laugh.
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll get on to your own celebrations and your own teammates, but did the Ireland guys acknowledge the fact that you're making your Test debut? And
Yeah, they were, like Matt Canson especially, came into the change room afterwards, gave me his shirt, Yeah, came and sat down, chat with me, and I was like, "Do you want mine?" I didn't really know what should we swap?
No, I'm right, thanks, mate.
and he was like, "No, it's your
Thanks, fella.
debut. We always give away our shirts to the debutants." So that was a nice touch from him. Made it even more
Well,
special.
talk about the food. I saw like a little clip of the food in the change room after the game, and you boys have got like sushi. You've got
Game's moved on, hasn't
slim
it?
Yeah,
chicken.
This is England, not Wales, mate. They go wherever they want, mate.
There's boys like with chopsticks,
Bread and butter they get.
like picking up
McDonald's
the
pizza.
sushi, dipping it in the soy sauce, and eating it.
Yeah.
Wagamamas.
So I think boys pretty much can request what they fancy after games, so they can literally have whatever they want. Because you just need to get as much food.
What do you want? What do you want after the game?
The game is
I'd be
seriously gone, isn't it?
I'm a Five Guys burger man after a
Yeah.
game, personally. A nice burger and some Cajun fries from Five Guys.
Obviously, you make your debut, and loads of it goes brilliantly. You score a try, all that stuff, and you're injured. So presumably, you knew there was something wrong by the end of the game.
Yeah.
And how frustrating is it to, firstly, not be able to get more caps, score more tries for England, but go back and sort of avenge those moments, make amends for those moments you wish you could change. You just got to sit and wait.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating thing. I think because I've been in camp for so long, not quite got the taste of it. Now I had that little taste of it over where in Ireland, didn't get the result we wanted. I wanted to get back out there as soon as possible. So when that news comes in, it's pretty tough to take injury-wise, but I had a good chat with Steve and he was like, look, get yourself back fit. We need you firing at 100%. And then there's that tour in the summer to hopefully look forward to. So get myself back fit, playing well again, body feeling good, and then hopefully get on that. I'm still only 25, so hopefully a lot of rugby ahead of me.
So, in terms of fully fit, like what percentage would you say you were with your stress factor?
Oh, I was fine before the game. It hadn't actually developed into a. So it was like there was.
Was it? Did you feel it a little bit? Was it?
No, not really.
You can't even blame anything bad that happened on your injury.
No.
Claim it. It's gone by then. Foot had gone by then.
That's what I'm leading you into.
Foot was gone.
No, and then in the game, adrenaline, everything.
Yeah.
Didn't even really feel it in the game, and then it was afterwards. Walking around, I was like, "God, that's pretty sore." Doc physios come over, prod around. They're like, "We'll get that X-rayed," and then that was where it showed the little fracture.
I remember years ago, right, a hooker called Dorian West, who played for England, amazing player, played for Leicester, he's now coaching in the Prem, of course. And in this meeting, and Andy Robinson was the England forwards coach, and they're reviewing something, and I forget exactly what it was that Nobby, so Dorian West called Nobby, what Nobby had done. I think he'd thrown something like completely the wrong throw, right? He'd thrown the wrong throw. And Robbo's like, Nobby, what's that? And Nobby was basically like, chief, I've been smacked in the head, my head had gone, that was it for me. I was all over the shop by then, mate, because it wasn't like the HIA days then. Yeah. I was all over the place then, sorry, chief, I can't remember that, and it's like, fair enough, Nob. About 5 minutes later, he gets the ball and spins this beautiful miss pass off his left and puts like Ben Cohen away or Dan Luger away down the right. So do you remember that? He goes, yeah, cleared up by then. Blame the injuries, cleared up by then, just, demissed it a bit. Do you have to do a song for your first cap?
Yeah, Love Story, Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, what a choice. Strong.
Yeah, with the Swiftie movement.
Oh, did you? Are you a Swiftie?
No, I'm not a Swiftie at all. That's just our song. Joe Marchant actually brought it in for when we win a game at Quins. That we don't have a song at Quins. There's no like Gloucesters or Sarries, Ticky Ticky Tom, nothing like that.
You've got to take your boot off and slam it on the floor.
on the kit box. Yeah.
That was Northampton, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you know, it's everyone now, and cool song by the way, like it. But there was a time when videos from Prem or PWR changing rooms with the lads or the ladies doing their songs. It was like, this is good insight, and I like this song. And you look around at who's the most shredded and who's got their garb out. I wouldn't have my top off if I knew the cameras, all that sort of stuff. And it's like, but now I feel like Quins are the innovators by not having a song where you have your boot off and you whack it on the...
be doing it, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they do have a song.
You do now, Taylor Swift. Yeah.
So how long did the lads give you before they start getting drowned out and you had to sing
I sung a fair bit, and then apparently I didn't really know. I just backed it, and when it got up there, started singing. Apparently it was Matt Hansen again who started everyone clapping along, which was quite nice of him.
Oh, so it's not on the bus? It's
mate, it was
in front of both teams.
Both Ireland team, or Ireland team, England team, all the RFU sponsors,
full conference room,
on the stage.
Because I got given my cap, and then I was like, "Thank you very much." Walked off the stage.
That was tough.
And the RFU president goes, "Are you not going to sing us a song?" And I was like,
Maybe on the bus?
Fine, and I didn't want to have that awkward thing where you're like, oh no, I don't think so.
So that is kind of breaking with tradition, because I always thought it was on the team bus
So
on the way
or in the
to-
change room or whatever.
But that's good though. I like the fact you did it with the Ireland
And
lads.
to be fair, you didn't read it off your phone or anything.
No,
like
exactly.
that.
I just went up there and
it's
I
just
was
a
like,
lot of
back it.
verses before the chorus.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Was there eruptions then in the conference room after the song?
To be fair, everyone was like, well done you for like just getting up there and backing it. But
What were your other options?
You had no choice, did you?
no choice at all.
So that was your confident in the sort of after-match song in front of everyone. Was there a different song then you might have had for the bus?
Yeah, I think there probably would have been a different song.
What was it?
Baseline Junkie by Dizzy Rascal. Completely other end of the spectrum.
Well, as it
I think.
happens, we're recording now.
Where's the mic?
Do you all still do a bit of coaching? So you
I
play
do.
and you coach?
I do.
Where do you coach and why do you coach?
Richmond.
Okay.
Rugby. I've always enjoyed coaching. I started coaching down at Old Reigation, which was the first club down in London South 1. And then I knew the head coach, Rob Powell, up at Richmond, and they were looking for like an assistant back skills coach. So whenever I've got a bit of spare time, Tuesday, Thursday, head up there. They're topping that one at the moment. So they're going pretty well.
You like it?
I love it, mate.
Let's talk England. You're best mates with Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you used to live with him, didn't you?
Lived with him, for 4 years.
And that's you've broken off that bromance now.
Bro, well, yeah, he got his mansion up on the hill, looking down on us. So
Found a girlfriend.
yeah,
kicked you out.
Settle down.
Yeah.
It's obviously a different. It's a different season for Marcus because he's usually playing fly half. You've come into the team. He's obviously delighted for you because you play together at Quins.
He's happy to be playing. He's playing for his country, starting on the international stage. That's where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's at 10 and 15, I think obviously he's played 10 all his life, so obviously he'd prefer to be there. But I think he can offer so much at both. And we've almost got this embarrassment of riches in England with him and Finn. So it's just one of those where he's happy to be playing. He's such a student of the game.
Yeah.
He will be learning so much. Like I think he's been speaking to Brownie and like trying to pick his brains of the 15 because it is a different position. But he wants to learn and be the best wherever he's playing. So he will keep striving for that, and I know wherever he plays, he'll add value to the team.
You as a 10, you do end up in the 15 position a hell of a lot because you kick the ball, and then you obviously got to retreat.
You end up in the backfield.
Yeah.
I think that says it all, though. As a 10, you want to be 10, though, don't you?
Yeah, every player says that. If you're a 7, you want
just
that
wanna be in the
number. You
team.
want to be. Yeah, I just think it's hard. I'm not a fan of it. Like I've said before, I think if you're a fly half, let a fly half be, and especially if you're a younger fly half, like very good at club level, like find his teeth at international, isn't it? Like let him be and pick one and go with one, and then you pull the strings. I'm still not convinced on just all this rotation. Like, does it get the best out of Marcus?
Yeah, I don't know. But then one of his best attributes is counter-attacking, like beating people one-on-one, giving him the ball early in space. Like, I can see how it could work, but I do understand the frustrations but he's still learning it. Like this will be, you can probably count on your hands how many games he started at 15. He's still learning it.
I mean, I personally don't think he's a test 15. I think it's very brave and almost sometimes naive to consider that. And I absolutely agree that, broken field is counter-attack, but I'm not sure he's got the licence to counter-attack or the feeling within. I know at Quins he would.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. You catch the ball anywhere on the field. You see the way he's sparked counter-attacks in some of the most memorable tries you guys have ever scored.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure there is that same degree.
Would he be the type of player then you'd bring off the bench maybe to change the game for 20 minutes at 15?
Yeah, I would, yeah. I mean, the point is, I just don't think they have the freedom within the framework of England to do that. I mean, is that fair, do you think? Is there enough freedom to do that?
I think it's still learning and developing this attack under Richard Wigglesworth. I think we want to be brave and play like that. And I think it's just different combinations, like we said, people playing different positions. I think ultimately it will keep developing and there will be aspects of the game where they want to develop. And I think, with him there, could that be the step that then takes it to the next level? Who knows?
But also this whole notion that Finn Smith's had a couple of good games at 10. He will have a load of good games at 10 because he's brilliant and he's going to play, if he stays fit, touch wood, he is going to play for England for years. But the whole notion that Marcus Smith isn't going to play 10 for England anymore, it's like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if, all being well, Marcus Smith goes past 100 caps at some point because he's a sensational player and he will have played almost some of those games off the bench, some at 15. He might play at scrum half at some point, for 10 minutes here or there. We've all done it. I haven't. But Marcus Smith will get, I expect, a load more caps for England at fly half. There is room for more than one.
You've got back-to-back wins now. You've been capped, which is, amazing. Getting that winning feeling in the dressing room, but yet when you guys, pick up the papers, over the next couple of weeks, there's still people knocking the England team for their style. How is that perceived internally? Is it just noise that just goes away, or?
Yeah, I think it's just noise. Ultimately, I love Genji's interview. I don't know if you saw Genji's interview the other day. We were getting knocked when we were losing but scoring 35 points, and now we're winning, not scoring as many points. We're still getting knocked. How do you win? I just think there's always going to be this.
Out of touch.
You two.
No?
I don't have a clue.
I don't have
a clue. I just think.
I actually said when we won the Calcutta Cup, I think, if you read my article, I said we should enjoy the victory as England fans, because we haven't won for a long time. But I also said that the way that they're playing is, is average, because I still believe there's a big gap between France and Ireland. And as long as the players realise that, that's the bit I want to get from you. Is the most important critics are the people inside. You look back at the review of the game and said, yeah, we won, but let's be honest, we won because Finn Russell missed the kick. You know what I mean? So we've got to take that on board and recognise that we're going to get better.
No, 100%. And there is still that so much, like being in there, everyone wants to grow and learn and develop and be better. And I think that is the overriding feeling in England. We've got so much talent. How can we all get it to click and play? Because if we can, and we do, we'll be one of the best teams in the world.
I think that one of the articles I read about Ellis Genji's interview said that he turned up in a bad mood because his wife's 37 weeks pregnant, the kids have had chicken pox, and I was like, yeah, my wife's not pregnant, we've had the chicken pox. I was grumpy that day too. But there's quite a lot I think about Genji's interview there, and I like it because how often do people lazily say, well, there's no characters in the game anymore, money's ruined it. No. What you got is a player who's annoyed about something, who's saying it.
Yeah.
And I think, don't try and squash that, embrace that. I feel like the relationship between pro rugby players and coaches and the media, I feel like it's misunderstood. I feel like that without pro rugby, there's no jobs for us, there's none of this, right? Without broadcast and broadcast money, there's no job for you, right? Yeah. So you need us, we need you. But actually, what there needs to be is integrity on both sides. So what we are not are cheerleaders. We are not cheerleaders. If we just say everything's great, people stop taking it seriously. It's no longer a serious entity. So it doesn't work. So it's not that we're reveling in England not playing amazing rugby all the time. It's just that actually we have to maintain integrity to be taken seriously. And by the way, it's kind of as important as the rugby side of it. They both complement each other, but it doesn't mean you've got to be best mates. It just doesn't. It can't mean that because there is no integrity to that. It's transparent and it doesn't work.
What's your reaction to that then?
No, I completely agree. And as long as in your little bubble, whatever it is, in that England rugby team, you have belief that you will keep getting better, you want to develop, you all have that, then who cares what the outside noise is? And I get they have to work together, and I wouldn't want, like you said, there to just be cheerleaders. There has to be that balance, because ultimately everyone's going to feel pretty similarly. You're a fan of the England rugby team, everyone's going to feel pretty similarly. But as long as in that little bubble, like Genji, whatever, whoever's speaking in the press, they can say what they want, but we know inside there, internally, we are desperate to win. We are doing everything we can to try and win. Yes, it may not be perfect, but if we win, we'll be happy with the win, but we know there's still a lot to learn.
Let's talk Ireland. They've won back-to-back championships. They're going for a third. They're still in with a shout at the Grand Slam. What impressed you about them as a team that you probably hadn't maybe thought about before?
When I played them, I couldn't believe the intensity in every little battle that they bring. Like, I think they are world class at the breakdown and fucking up other teams. Like, they are so good. Everything was a battle. They made every little thing a complete battle, and you had to be on it from minute 1 to minute 80, because 1 to 23, their whole bench, their impact off the bench, like you said about their back row, Jack Conant came on and brought the level up to here.
I couldn't believe when you're the side that's operating at the top of the game, how much you get away with at the breakdown as well. And I was thinking,
and I think they do.
Was that exactly like what we were like?
Yeah.
When we used to get when New Zealand were on top, they just get away. Ireland pushed the breakdown
100%.
so hard.
Yeah. And that's what you just feel constant pressure when you were playing against them, and that's what I think they are so good at.
Everywhere, from set piece pressure, phase play attack, they're amazing. Even like a drop out from under the post, they've always got something like a phase or two-phase attack from there. Constant.
Would you back them to beat France at home? What would you think?
That is again, it just depends what France turns up.
Yeah.
And weather, I think.
Weather, I completely agree. Yeah. It's actually a fascinating game because it's two contrasting ways of playing.
I think if it's wet.
I think if it's wet, and I think Ireland will do it that way. But then again, I don't know. I just look at that back three or that back line of France, and whoever they play, their back three, they rotate so much. Their centres, they haven't had Fiku in for a long time, and they're still clicking. Exactly, or Dante, and they're still clicking ridiculously well. They just look like they play with such a freedom, and that is the French way, isn't it? Like they just play. They'll chuck it about. Bielbury's probably the most informed winger in the world at the moment, and I just love watching them play. But again, like they had their critics over in France when they played against England because they couldn't finish those tries.
What are the odds of Peter O'Mahony losing his last home game?
Yeah. Conor Murray, these guys.
He'll be ready to die out there,
Well, they've got three players over 100. I hadn't really considered that, actually. That's quite a big milestone, isn't it? For three of those kind of legends of the game to play over 100 times.
Keane Healy, mate, that many caps in the front row. Jeez, man. Jeez. Years ago, remember Paul Wallace, the old British guy? Wally, we played with him at Sarries. He said to me, there's this young kid you want to watch called Keane Healy. I said, I will see. So he's warming up for a game and he's doing loads of sprints and doing like loads of yoga moves, really flexible. And I was like, nah, mate, he's too small. Then I played with Dan Cole for England Saxons, I think it was called then, against Ireland, Irish Wolfhounds, then the Irish A team. And they had loads of good lads playing, and Keane Healy was playing, and Coley did a job on him in the scrum. And after the game, I was like, nah, mate, not sure he's good bloke, not sure he's got it. Anyway, 130 caps later, one of the best players in history. But I've had a good laugh about it over the years. I'm not sure about him. But amazing.
Yeah, that's an added incentive for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of your opposite numbers, who are the two wingers that you really look at in the game now at the moment internationally?
James Lowe. I think he's changed what it is to be a winger. I think he's got so much of another skill set with that massive left boot, with his distributing game. He offers so much differently to that. And then I'd pair him with one of the two best wingers in the world, one of the Colby or Arenza or Bielbury, someone with out-and-out pace who can beat a defender. And I think those two as a combination are probably the two.
Curtly Aronson is amazing.
Oh, mate.
I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves because Cheslin Colby's in the team. Every game he plays is amazing.
I think one winger I'd like to ask you about, Mark Talea, plays for New Zealand All Blacks, right? And the reason I love him is that the same reason I love watching Jack Noel play.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you in particular because you're
what I want to be.
You're not 6'5",
yeah, exactly.
but you're powerful and stocky. And you've got the winger bits, but you've also, if I'm playing in the front row and I'm defending somewhere near the breakdown in the midfield, I'd rather see someone lightning quick and skinny. I'd rather see BLBRE than you. I don't want someone who can make yards against me and overpower me. So I often wonder if someone like you watches someone like Mark Talea and thinks that I can do that.
And you look at his work rate and appetite to get on the ball, not necessarily just standing out on his wing, but he'll go in and pick and go in the middle of the pitch, that kind of thing. And he'll try and get 10, 15 touches because ultimately the more touches you get, the more defenders you can beat, the more magic you can put on the game. So yeah, he was definitely one. Knowlesy probably started that off. He was unbelievable at that.
Yeah.
Coming in off 9 for Chiefs, playing in around the breakdown. That was where he probably
I mean, you and I would be absolutely terrified. I mean, James Simpson-Daniel actually beat me 3 times in the same movement. To score a try. I mean, I was 36 and playing on one knee. But right, let's move on to Scotland-Wales. Shanks, after all the excitement, you still lost.
Yeah.
But obviously, big improvements. Give us a little view. Is it still that optimism? Scotland, they're under pressure. Wales, obviously, exciting.
I think so.
Much better.
The Ospreys beat Glasgow the weekend as well.
Yeah, that's a big result.
Massive result against the current champions of the URC.
Good finish to that game, was it? Did you see?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Talk to me.
Jack Walsh. I saw him at the driving range. There's a driving range called Hensel. In Wales.
You're getting a little bit of practice.
Yeah, a little bit for the season.
It's all charity though, isn't it? It's all charity.
And there's no way he was hitting his golf balls like that last kick. It was an amazing kick. Right hand side, nailed it. Big kick as well, like high percentage kick.
To win it?
to win it. Are you a golfer?
No, not a golfer at all.
okay.
No, yeah, I don't think.
Anything else that any other sports that float?
Mate, I love darts. Is growing massively at the moment.
Don't speak to Flats about darts, right? He can bench press like 5 on 150, but he can't throw a dart.
What do you mean you can't throw it?
I can bench press 10 at 100.
Flats, what was your darts
No,
name?
I can't.
What was
I've
your
got no
darts?
shoulders or elbows. I'm just like that.
What was your darts name be, actually?
Even that. Dave Dagger.
Dave
You know.
Dagger.
The Viking.
As a Viking. So listen, let's go back to still confident that Wales can break their duck. I mean, and because listen,
Yeah, I think so.
They're away from home.
Yep.
And they're playing Scotland, who are under pressure.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Scotland are under pressure, waiting for them to perform. And I think the pressure's on Scotland because this might be the best group of players they'll have for a while. Because I think it's a generation of Scotland squad where this is now or never for them. And we keep saying that every year. So I think the pressure's massively on them. Wales are going there. They'll be underdogs. They won't be favourites. But Matt Sherritt will have a couple of extra weeks. Their attack looks a lot better. Interesting to hear what you think of Adam Jones, even though you probably don't have too much to do with him. I think he's been great for just culture.
Mate.
Someone different, another voice, someone that's maybe not as strict or doesn't maybe rule the roost like Warren Gatland has. He's probably a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, 100%. And he's just such a good bloke to have around the place. But he'll get the best out of you and he'll work you hard in a way that you don't almost feel like you're getting worked hard. Like I look over at the boys who are doing scrum and maul conditioning and he's there laughing and joking with them, but these boys are absolutely shagged. But like he's making them work so hard. And I think that's brilliant. Coaches can do that, can't they? Make you work so hard without making you feel it. And that's something that Bond brings to whatever squad. He'll add value. Yeah, like you said, culturally, he'll pick the boys up, make jokes with them and get them feeling almost that confidence again.
I saw him the other day covering the Quinn Stormers game in the middle of the pitch. I was doing a couple of interviews and he come over, said hello, and then puts down in his pocket, gave me a couple of sweets.
They put out the pre-match sweets before.
Pocket full of sweets.
Jaffa cakes, Haribos, all of these, and they're just for Bomb. They're not for any of the players.
I did a thing on TNT with Bob, and we were basically having someone walk. He came to do an interview, and he had a bottle of lager and a little box of like deep fried chicken. He's like, "You want a beer?" I was like, "Yeah, we're going live in a minute." I said, "Do you want to get rid of that?" And he's like, "Oh," he goes, "Have I got hold of mic?" I said, "I'll hold the mic." Oh, and he has the beer, and he just does the beer in one because he's thirsty. Yeah. We're not on camera, and he just puts the beer down, and we're chatting away, and it sort of ended up going viral, isn't it? Because he's just eating deep fried chicken as we're
breakfast time, like you'd have a buffet for breakfast, and there'd be eggs, and there'd be protein and beans, and there'd be some sausages there as well. But he would constantly just walk up and down the buffet, just picking a sausage, putting it in his mouth, like one of these little chocolate, like this. Pushing it in his mouth like spaghetti. And he kept walking up and down.
That made me feel uncomfortable.
Walking up and down. And I reckon he'd have about 5 before he actually put breakfast on his plate.
If you get a Yorkshire pudding, you can fold it up really small.
I'm actually allergic to buffets for that reason. I want to go back to the darts. Did you play amongst the club at Quins? Or?
Yeah, so we've just got a board sent from Windmill, nice up on the players' room board. Proper job, mate. Ocky on the floor. Boys are really getting into it. Dylan Lewis has organised a tournament, so we're currently going through the group stage of the tournament.
Have you hit a 180 yet?
Yeah, I've hit a couple of 180s.
Nice.
180s.
Nice.
But yeah, there's some boys that are really some youngsters, mate. There's this young prop, Ethan Clark, Lucid. He looks like he's been in a pub since the age of, I think it was about 7. And his darts show, mate, because he's really good at darts as well.
Stick to Rugby is brought to you by Defender.
Right, PWR, please. Semi-finals, KDM.
Yes.
We know how they went, but tell us about them. So Sarries beat Quins. Hell of a game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a great opener for the semi-final weekend. I think realistically, probably Sarries had too much firepower up front. You know, you look at that, Quins had your Ellie Kilduns out there. She went well, but the pack was the difference for Sarries. Marley Packer, Poppy Cleal were absolutely ferocious.
I watched that game and listened to it. I just thought the power that I was looking at that Sarries team, and Quins was so they desperately tried to make it competitive.
And they stayed with it
they held on,
60 minutes.
And the defence was amazing, and they scored a peach of a try late in the second half.
Yeah.
But the power, I was looking at the forwards thinking, no wonder they're so strong.
Yeah, Georgia Evans, like Linebury, just the momentum.
Front row and the back row just seemed.
May Campbell, once they got going, Quins could never stop it. It was probably one-way traffic that last 20 minutes.
Yeah, and the other one, Gloucester Hartbury. Hartbury, they of course beat Bristol, and Bristol know how to beat Gloucester Hartbury, but it didn't happen this time.
No, and to be honest, that was probably there were good semis. That was probably the better one. Bristol took an early lead. First 30 odd minutes, Gloucester didn't touch the ball, no possession, no territory, very unlike Gloucester. And actually, to be fair, what impressed me was the patience they showed. They didn't try and force anything, just built their way in. They had a couple of entries, took their points, and then again, the last 60, quality showed. Bristol kind of ran out of ideas. You know, they play this lovely, beautiful, wide game, don't kick the ball as much. And actually, Gloucester just came in, took some points, left, and it was quite ruthless towards the end.
I can't remember, Sarri's Gloucester final.
Yeah.
Who did you pick? Who are you picking?
I still think Gloucester. I think Sarri's penalty count could have caused them a lot of problems if Quins had been better, and I think that's going to be a big one. And their 22 entries. If Gloucester aren't going to give them as many opportunities because their defensive line, Alex Matthews, people are going to put up a big shift. Zoe Allcroft. So I think Sarri's have to drop their penalty count and they have to be more ruthless. But I do think it's Gloucester's to lose.
There's not a lot of gap between the PWR final and the start of the Six Nations.
It's a week, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's like that. Is that a problem?
I think it's interesting because a lot of the girls are in camp now, so there's a 2-week gap now between the semis and the final. So they're in international camp now. But I suppose the big one, isn't it? It's like how that semi is going to be tough. It will be one of the toughest games these girls will play, probably over some of the Six Nations games. And it's kind of how quickly they can. England open with Italy, so potentially you might get a bit of rotation in there. But it's a really funny one.
Well, it's a tough old game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tough old game.
You obviously the Quins team now. They'd be disappointed with that. Is there any interaction between across the, coaching wise, playing wise?
Well, Ross Chisholm, who used to play for us, is obviously leading them up at the moment.
Yeah,
he's a great rugby brain, great bloke as well. I think that's what, because they went through a tough couple of seasons, and he's gone in there this season, taken over the head job, and incredible bloke. Will get the best out of the team, and I think that's kind of what they needed, just moulding, shaping into. And finding their style again, like you mentioned, Ellie and all of that, they can score from anywhere again. That's the Quins' identity, and that's what Ross has brought back to that team.
I think that's a big thing about Ross, though, isn't it? Like you say, we look at sometimes this transition of male coaches from the men's game into the women's game.
Yeah.
But I think his manner is so suited to the girls. Everything I hear about him is so positive, and you speak to him.
Yeah.
He's just a really decent bloke.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry, Lot. That's an interesting one because you hear about the great clubs, and like the Toulouses and the Crusaders and that, this is how we play, and they have a rugby identity that runs from sort of under eights all the way through.
DNA, really.
DNA, and it's like, well, actually, we know the Quins way, but you mentioned then as if it was obvious, but I'd never thought of it. So that absolutely translates to the women's game as well.
Yeah.
So this is how Quins play, and if you want to sign for Quins, this is the sort of rugby you're going to be playing.
100%, and I think that could be a pull to some people, and it won't. Some people won't want to come and play that style. So, I think having an identity as a club is massive, and to get it across both teams, I think is just as key because then you're on that shared vision and it's easy. Quite a few of the boys can help coach as well. James Chisholm's over there, Jack Walker's over there helping out coaching as well.
We brought in a section called Players for the Future. Now, I'm sure there are players at Quins that we don't get to see that often who you think might, Finn Baxter a couple of years ago was one of those players who's really come through. Is there anyone at Quins that you would give a shout out to or say, do you know what, in a few years' time, you may not have heard of him yet, but he's coming through as a player of the future?
So I'm probably a bit biased, but I'm going to bang the Richmond drum. This boy's been on loan down at Richmond for the start of the season. Lucas Schmidt. Yep. Big number 8 or 6.
Watched him on Friday night.
Yeah, on Friday night. He's only 20. Yeah, I heard about
played against his dad.
Did you?
I was very young, he's very old, but yeah.
So
he's
definitely physically
athletic. Yeah, there's obviously our back row at Quins. We've got, again, embarrassment of riches, but he's someone who, because you don't really get to spend much time with the academy boys because they're always on loan, but being down there coaching, you get to see him, and he's a talent for the future, 100%.
Shanks, anyone in Wales that we should be keeping an eye on?
Yeah, loads. I'd say Max Page for Scarlets, looks really good. Been injured a little bit this season, but come back and look proper sharp. And a player number 8 called Morgan Morse. Now,
Great name.
Yeah, he played I think for the under-20s when he was either 16 or 17.
Inspector's son, isn't he?
His best mate's Lewis.
Inspector Morse might be a bit before your time, is it?
I laughed a lot anyway.
You're like,
Only about 30 years, by the way. Just I'm going to go.
I finished out at Morgan Morse. He
Go on then.
played 2 or 3 years for the under-20s, so he started really young. I think he might still be playing for the 20s, but he's featuring a lot more at number 8. He could be, I reckon, a little bit more size on him. He could be like the Ben Earl type of player.
What, as in move from number 8?
Fast on his feet, really powerful, really dynamic, set up a nice try at the weekend.
I'm going to go with a player called Finn Carduff up in Leicester. Played a bit of Premiership rugby.
I watched the minutes he's played, but I haven't watched
he is one to watch, outstanding. And a player who people know about, but I still think has got a huge amount to come, is Guy Pepper down at Bath, who's still only, 21, and, going well.
Good shout. Yeah.
Katie?
Probably Millie David. You would have seen her yesterday in that finish in the corner. Like, young, might get probably a little bit like you.
That was a great finish.
Great finish. Like, should have been barreled into touch well before it. 17 tries this season. Yes, Bristol play an expansive form, but her ability when she's on the ball, so balanced. Like, no doubt she'll get capped.
Yeah, and there's loads of young props coming through. Well, 3 or 4 really, really good young props coming through. But I'm going to branch right out and go to hooker, another hooker, Kepu Tuipulotu.
Oh, yes.
Young fella at Bath. I mean, get on YouTube and have a look. I mean, I realise that's playing against people his own age, but Kepu Tuipulotu has had a couple of senior appearances and has looked big, strong, skillful. He's also putting grubber kicks through.
Saw that at the
20s, yeah.
What's his throwing like?
It's a really good question because his throwing so far is good enough.
Yeah.
But you're throwing unless you are an icon and you're going to change the game forever, at hooker your throwing needs to be really good. And someone like Jamie George, he's done the scrummaging, he's made the breaks, he's been a link player, scored the tries, put the grubber kicks through, and he's been a 90+% thrower for 15 years, right? That is why he's getting 100 caps. So Steve Thompson was a freak of nature who was taught and who worked like frig to learn how to throw at the top level. If Kepu throws 1 million throws a week with a throwing coach and becomes a great thrower, this guy is a
1 million a week's a lot, though.
Superstar. Yeah,
I wonder.
He is a superstar.
Who's counting that?
Yeah.
I wonder whether Steve Borthwick will take him on the summer tour because, I mean, listen, I know Argentina's a tough place to go, but if you were going to pick 1 or 2 players, I was lucky enough in 1994 as a 21-year-old to be taken by England to South Africa. I only played 3 games in 8 weeks. But it was an amazing experience. It's actually very dangerous when you only play.
Sounds like a stag do to me.
Well, I know, exactly.
Yeah. But he's one of those players, and we've all got these players where England have got to take him. He's got to play for England. All right, but you've got to leave someone out if they're going to go. But he is a player that I think this guy is potentially incredibly special. I think that tour would be nice this summer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Lovely down South America. Would be nice.
Been there before?
Breakfast.
I went on a school tour there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to go back. I was
Yeah.
only 16 at the time, so you couldn't really.
Oh, it don't count, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
You went to state school, Caden.
I did, yeah.
Which one was it? Give him a shout out.
Bishop Wordsworth School.
Bishop Wordsworth. I think the perception from a lot of people externally is that rugby union can be quite white middle class, certainly in England, white middle class elite private school sport. I actually was in state school, but then got taken out of state school by my parents and ended up at a private school and played rugby. You stayed at state school all the way through.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the majority of international players in England, everyone looks at the England team and says, oh, they've all been to private school. But a lot of them started at state school and then they got scholarships. You stayed at state school all the way through.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think you are therefore a role model for young kids who are at state school to say, look, you don't have to go to a private school to play rugby.
No, exactly, yeah.
What was your experience of that journey?
We were very lucky. We had a good year group, so we played down at Salisbury Rugby Club, and pretty much everyone who was in the team at Salisbury was in the Bishop Wordsworth School as well. So we all played together for a long time. We all grew up with this love of sport, and because we had a good year group, rugby was then massive at Bishops, and it always has been big.
Yeah.
Hilly went to Bishops.
Yep.
So there's always been this big rugby culture at that state school because it's a grammar school. So, but yeah, I think if we can tap into the talents at state schools, because there must be so many people that fall off the radar and don't get lucky enough to get picked up and go into private school and get the best coaches. So I think the more we can develop the club game maybe, or how we go about that, getting scouts at more tournaments, that kind of thing, I think you can definitely pick up so many more players.
When you're at the top end like you are, does it feel like elitist? Does it feel like changing rooms at Quins in England full of posh boys?
No, I think it's changed.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I don't know what it was like, but I don't think it has that feel at all. I think there are more and more boys coming. Like you said, everyone has this private school because they went there for sixth form because they were so good they got picked up. Yeah. You're not going to say no if you're in their situation, are you? Yeah. You're not going to say, oh no, I'm going to stick with my school, not get as good at coaching, not have the facilities around me to try and make the professional team. So I think that's where you do get a lot more picked up in private schools, but I think there's still so much more you can tap into. Yep.
Shanks, over to you, sir.
Right, we've got some quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
These are pretty simple to do. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Contestant on I'm a Celebrity or Strictly Come Dancing?
I'm a celeb.
Whips or chains?
That's not on there.
That's his third question, isn't it?
His mum writes these bits.
It was like softly, those
Jane writes
questions.
these bits. She's a nightmare, mate.
Dress up or casual outfit?
Dress up.
Hand off or step?
Hand off.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Beach or city holiday?
Beach.
Gym or pitch training?
Pitch.
Read a book or listen to a podcast?
Podcast.
Yeah,
This one.
correct. Well done.
Yeah.
Traitor or faithful?
Traitor.
Sing or dance?
Sing.
Or both? Music came naturally. Early or late?
Early.
Cook or wash up?
Cook.
Rooney or Ronaldo?
That's a good one.
There's only one answer here, mate.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's got to be Ronaldo.
No, it's got to be Roo.
Ronaldo. Rooney for so many years carried United.
What about your manager then? Hammering out or in?
In. Stick with
You're
him.
backing him, are you?
Give him a couple of we've gone through. Oh yeah, don't get me started on this. It's been a bad year so far.
Thanks for coming in, mate.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it. Cheers, guys.
Man,
Thank
get
you very
the foot
much.
fixed up, eh?
Yeah, thank you very much.
The next time, just put the ball down.
I'll have one. I'll have one,
go
boys.
on.
I'm real.